Hey y'all, I'm back. So I want to get into a really quick video, or rather make a quick video. And first of all, thank you for coming to watch another What Else Is Going On, aka We Go podcast YouTube video. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. All right, let's get into it. So we know what just happened this past Sunday on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, and we know what has led up to that point. For those of you that have been living underneath of a rock, basically Brit Eady felt like she was getting some um she didn't like what she felt like she was getting from Kenya. She felt like Kenya was dismissive of her, was trying to haze her because she was a newbie and all of that stuff. Kenya pretty much was kind of like paying her. The episode before last week, we know that they were at a dinner at the bank, I believe it was called, and questions were asked. Britt didn't like how Kenya answered the question. Kenya called her a peasant. Things exploded from there. Britt talked about, Britt mentioned her pistol once and having some whips. Fast forward, Kenya said she felt threatened. And so she had a beautiful grand opening at her spa and she displayed poster board of Brit Eady taking it to the head, performing oral sex, right? Andy has spoken out about that on Andy Cohen Live. So let's get into exactly what he said.
That Britt made a comment at the end of last week's episode, like, I have a gun and a whip or something like that.
I saw that.
And on this week's episode, they all said to Britt, that you can't say that shit. And she was like, yeah, you're right. You know, whatever. She shows up to Kenya's opening of her gorgeous salon, which is beautiful, that Kenya has worked so hard on, that she dedicated to her daughter. And it's this big event opening it with all these people there. And Britt comes in and brings her flowers and says, I want to apologize to you, and a note. And Kenya totally ignores her, like totally. And Britt's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these here. And Britt leaves. And then Kenya gets up and makes her whole opening about someone came after me and they shouldn't have. And I started looking into who this woman is, and this is who she is. And she starts showing pictures of her.
With like poster board that she printed.
And this is like
one of the pictures is
revenge porn type.
Yes.
Okay. One of the pictures is her
like, oral sexing.
Yeah. And so, and the Atlanta Housewives are like, we're out. We don't want any, the place like clears out.
Yeah.
And then there's and Cynthia said, in all my time at the show, this is the lowest I've ever seen anything get. And
now, what is this glitter bracelet you have on under?
This is just a random comment.
He covered me.
Sorry, it's very eye-catching and beautiful.
I know, it actually is. It's glitter tape.
It's nice
for bed. Yeah.
Like
I have glitter tape everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So that's what, and then there's a slide at the end of the show that says, Bravo, stop filming with Kenya after this.
Well, they say, like, there's all this talk of, after the Me Too movement, it's like if you show someone a dick pic or a nude pic without them saying, yes, I would like to see that right now, that's like sexual assault. You can't just go around being like, hey, someone did it to me the other day. I was at a workout class and they were like, hey, look at this guy from last night. And I was like, I didn't ask to see that right now.
Right. Yes, Jordan?
Well, I was going to say, the bad part of it and the sad part of it was that, like you said, it was Kenya's opening of her store that she worked so hard for, and that it's been Kenya Moore hair care for years. Yes. And it was like a big moment for her.
How
and
she
like
do that?
She should have been celebrating herself, but instead she used the time to like do revenge porn and bring somebody else down. And at the end of the day, it was such a bad look for Kenya.
Yeah, why would she do that?
Herself in her business.
What was she thinking?
Jody from Minneapolis, what did you think?
Yay, hi. Also, I'm just so proud of Bravo and how they handled it, and all the housewives that left after Kenya showed it. It was so trashy, and it was so negative and ugly, and I don't know, I think a few years ago, not all the wives would have left after that, but I'm really proud that they all left. And Britt making that comment about the guns and the whips, I don't know. I didn't feel like it was totally like, I'm going to go kill you, Kenya. I think it was just her talking smack, and oh my gosh, Kenya just took it way too far, way too far. And on a side note, I saw Luann. She was in town here on Saturday night. And
All right, so I cut it off because then they just go on to talk about seeing Luann, and Andy said he had been texting with Luann. But so that's Andy speaking out about what happened with his co-hosts on, again, Andy Cohen Live. I know one of them is John Hill. I'm not sure who the woman co-host is, but what do y'all think about what he said? It almost felt like for a minute I thought, well, how could I? When I was watching the show last night, I felt like they were wanting to create emotions in us around Brit, because you can use editing uh, to try to evoke emotion in people, right? You want to create a story. So I really felt like they were trying to show Brit as this really apologetic person who felt really bad. Then it made even worse because her aunt passed away unexpectedly, which RIP to her aunt and her family and everything. I felt like that's how they were trying to kind of edit it last night. And then she comes to Kenya with flowers. Kenya ignores her. So she just leaves, very meek. She leaves. And then boom, this happens with Kenya. That's how I thought. That's how I felt watching the episode, how they wanted us to feel, right? That was my thinking. So when I was listening to Andy for a moment, I kind of got that too. Like just the way he was talking about it. Y'all know what I mean? But y'all let me know what y'all think. Let me know what your first thought was when you heard it. Like, don't think about it, just instinctually when you heard it. Do you feel like he was leaning a certain type of way? Or I don't know, just let me know what your thoughts were. Or do you think he was just doing his job as being the host of Andy Cohen Live, a radio show, and just talking about the event and wasn't really swaying either way? Let me know. But I wanted to get into something else before we go, because I told y'all this was going to be a short video. I wanted to go back to, and shout out, that was from the Neighborhood Talk. And again, that was from his show, Andy Cohen Live. I want to get into an older article from Reality T. And this was back November 25th, 2024. Andy Cohen reacts to Kenya Moore's recent accountability interview. Happy to see that. I just wanted to remind y'all that he did speak on it back then. Earlier this month, Kenya sat down on the Tamron Hall show and admitted that she didn't have to take it that far in her feud with Brit Eady. Brittany Eady. Okay. It was the first time she spoke about the incident in detail. And in a recent interview, Andy seemed impressed with what he saw. Andy spoke to Page Six about Kenya's Tamron Hall interview during Bravo's Fan Fest in Miami. During their conversation, he praised Kenya for how she addressed the RHOA scandal. I thought it was great, Andy admitted. I've talked to her a lot over the last few months, and I was happy to see that. So remember, he said, I've talked to her a lot over the last few months. I was happy to see that. So after it happened, Kenya, when she sat down, when she sat down with Tamron, she called him a great support system. She said, he has called, he has checked on me, he has given me advice. And I feel like he's a really good friend and I appreciate the support. That was my family for 12 years. I love them and I feel like they love me. It was just a really unfortunate situation. So I feel like if it was up to Andy, she'll be back next season, but I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Again, I'm going to do my recap. I'm going to go to the gym, come back, take my notes, do my recap. But yeah, so Andy addressed it. Let me know what y'all think. I will talk to y'all later. See ya. Told you it was going to be short.